What is up, everybody? It is me, Don Horatio, and I'm back with casts and not just interviews, which I've been doing a lot of recently. DreamHack was a busy weekend for me. Did a write-up for the Valencia Esports Congress. I published an interview with Total Biscuit recently, and I will have, probably by the time you see this video, I'll have an interview up with Paul Schallner, also known as Red Eye. And those are both very interesting interviews about the state of esports and its current form, and I definitely recommend checking those out. Definitely some good information there, especially about the Valencia Esports Congress, which I talked to Paul about extensively, so do check that out. But also, speaking of DreamHack, they have released their replay pack, which is why I'm here. I now have just a dearth of casting material to work with some of the best players in the world. And just as a warning, I will be spoiling the results of the event in 3, 2, 1. Close the video now, or else we're just being spoiled. TaeJa won. TaeJa's really, really good at StarCraft 2. So he won this tournament, and pretty convincingly up until the final series where he had to actually come back from the brink of defeat, almost swept by 4GG from Team Millennium in the final match. But TaeJa did come back and take that series 3-2 and the title. Inspirational play, to be just absolutely honest about it. And I'll definitely be doing a ton of his games from this replay pack because, I mean, we want to see why he's the best player in the world. We want to see what he is doing that really just sets him apart from everybody else. He is just a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant player. So in this first match, I will bring you a best of 3 from the round of 16, the bracket stage. It'll be TaeJa himself versus one of the 5 Zergs on Team Acer. The third best known, it is none other than AcerBly, the Ukrainian Zerg. So it should be some fun games. So without further ado, let's get right into that. In the top left of the map, which is ESV Ohana. Actually, I'm going to take this moment to really thank ESV for the work that they do. I mean, Diamond is the man who behind ESV, and he's very active on Twitter saying like that people don't get recognition for their maps and stuff like that. Tournaments don't really give them credit. I really want to give credit for these maps because they do a great job. ESV, they made Ohana and among other maps, Cloud Kingdom, some excellent maps from that map making team. So thank you, Diamond, and the rest of ESV for the work that you do for the scene. But anyway, now that I've gone off on that tangent, on ESV Johan, in the top left, we have the blue Terran from Team Liquid. It is none other than the eventual champion of this event, TaeJa. Heads up, he wins this series. If that was some sort of spoiler, and I apologize. But in the bottom right, we have the red Zerg AcerBly, and he'll be going with the Extractor trick and not the standard 9 Overlord to get those drones out there as quickly as possible. But other than that, everything going as planned. Supply depot down as well. We'll take a brief moment to discuss the map. It's a good map. It's a really good map for Mech as a Terran player because it is not particularly wide from, let's go from like here over to here. So this is actually not that big a distance going across, and this Zelnaga Tower is actually in a pretty good spot. You can cover quite a bit from there. And it's just a really good map for Mech and siege tanks, and you can really just do a lot of things with it. We do see TaeJa planting his first barracks up here in a little bit of a Makarax to try and hide it and delay the scouting of his build. From the opponent. It will likely just be a 1 racks expand of some sort, unless he goes for some sort of 2 racks play, but he probably would have made that second barracks already if he was doing that. So TaeJa not doing anything too out of the ordinary, just trying to confuse his opponent as much as he can. And here does come the scouting drone, and I don't think he saw that. Let's take a quick look. Nope, he did not. So indeed, that Makarax will work for now, but Bly should not be too afraid. I mean, he has his 15 hatch going up, standard as can be, nothing wrong with that at all. And TaeJa's moving out with an SCV to go scout for his own self. And soon we'll be seeing a command center. We have a bunch of minerals stacked up, so that command center will be coming down very soon. Once those minerals get to 400, expect that command center. And the drone's actually going to try and block it, but the Marine will clearly force him away. And there does go the command center on 17, so both players playing standard as standard can be. Pool coming down after that hatchery for Bly. And we'll have to see when he puts down that first gas geyser. The first extractor will determine what Bly is trying to do in this game, whether he'll go for a quicker zergling speed or if he's just going to try and build up a large number of queens and really try to get that creep spread going. Creep spread is very important against any sort of push from Terran players. Where'd that SCV goes? SCV doing a little bit of mineral harass there, trying to deny those minerals, deny that patch to the drones. But like I was saying, if you have a bunch of queens, you can defend against Hellions and small numbers of Marines, as well as spread that creep out, especially if you get up to that 6 queen build that was used by a lot of players back when the queens first got that buff for that ranged attack. bunch of Zerglings actually kind of forced out. I'm kind of curious why Bly made quite this many Lings. Seems a bit of a waste of larvae to have 8 Zerglings out. About 2 pairs of Zerglings would probably be sufficient there, but burning a couple drones he doesn't need to right there, but looking to see if he can just get some aggression done with them, I guess. Trying to see if he could take advantage of his opponent's command center first, and we'll have to see if he could do just that. Let's take a look at the preparations on TaeJa's side. He does have 2 Marines and a 3rd on the way, so he should be pretty much fine here, as long as he micros effectively, but these Zerglings will make a small bother of it. And here do come the Zerglings, but the Marines are going to try and use this choke, but they're just going to let the Zerglings up and in, migrating as best they can, pulling a few SCVs to try and save them as well. And with these SCVs tanking, he shouldn't lose too much in the way of Marines. He actually does lose 1 Marine, 2 Marines, and 2 Zerglings are still up, and 1 will get the scout off and see that 3rd command center. Very important to spy that. He knows that TaeJa will not be capable of too much heavy aggression, especially with Marines anytime soon, with 400 minerals synced into that command center. And also 2 gas as well. So he knows that TaeJa will be looking to tech in some shape or form, maybe a Banshee follow-up with some after the Hellions that will come as they always do in this matchup. We do see the Queens starting to pile up for Bly. He has 4 on the map currently, not making any more right now, taking a couple gas in his main base and at his natural. So he is going to have a lot of gas very quickly. Something we saw a lot from TLO, and if you caught any at TLO cast, going for that gas all the time, all at once. So Bly's going to be looking to tech up very quickly. We'll see what he decides to do. He'll likely get Zergling speed to start off with. Always a good upgrade to have, and then we'll have to see what his tech choice is from there on, whether he'll go for Mutas or Infestors first, and how soon his lair is, if it's before the 3rd base or not. So, if we take a look at what TaeJa's actually up to, while Bly continues to just build up what he's doing, he's going to drop that factory down on the reactor and get those Hellions out on the map. The starport here for TaeJa will likely be making some Banshees. We see the barracks about to drop down and make a tech lab for the starport, so definitely going to be some Hellion Banshee play here. Very standard in the matchup. Good multi-pronged harassment possible with the Hellion and Banshee composition, and they are actually able to effectively deal with a number of compositions present at this earlier stage for the Zerg player. Bunker here at that little right at the bottom of the ramp, able to defend both the ramp and a good portion of the mineral line and command center. So always good to have a bunker here. Terran players who are trying to get better. This is actually a great spot to build a bunker defensively, if you want to know that. Here goes the aforementioned creep spread from Bly, using these 2 extra queens to really get that creep spread going and try to basically help deny this Hellion harass and get out as far in the map as he can. It'll provide both vision and obviously speed for the Zerglings. So that is excellent indeed. And I can feel my throat starting to kind of clog up a bit here, so I'm going to drink a little bit of beer. Apologies for that. But in the meantime, while I was describing other things and drinking beer, we have the now finished lair for Bly, who's also working on double melee upgrades. Let's find those Evo chambers there at the front, also helping wall off against Hellions. But he also has a Roach Warren, in addition to these +1/+1 upgrades for the Zergling, so an interesting mix there. Also getting the Roach speed and burrow upgrades. So Bly going for a lot of upgrades, maybe a big Roachling attack in the future, but no, he is making an Infestation Pit, and he does now know about the Banshees. He does have Spore Crawlers on the way, but there's no Cloak for TaeJa, so no huge concerns. Needs to have those Queens out and on the map, able to defend. But right now, this 3rd hatchery is in danger of taking some damage and maybe being cancelled. We'll have to see if the Queens can get over there in time, and these 2 will look to do exactly that. But without this creep spreading onto the 3rd base, it's going to be hard to really deal with this Banshee effectively. We'll have to see how much damage it can do, but here do come the Queens, and the DPS will force that Banshee away. But not before taking some damage on that 3rd hatch. When it finishes, it will be weakened. And here come the Hellions denying some creep. Does lose 1 Hellion in the meantime, but that is not a big deal at all. But he needs to keep most of those Hellions alive to maintain that map presence. A couple of Roaches on the way for Bly, which will definitely help against those Hellions, not so much against the Banshees. But he's making a significant amount of Roaches, and I'm actually going to expect some aggression here very soon. A Roachling attack for sure. No drones being made at this point in time. And 8 Roaches on the way, and those +1/+1 upgrades will be done for the Zerglings very soon. Pathogen Glands also on the way as well for the Infestors. Roach speed about done, and it is now done. And he'll have a nice healthy timing here with the +1/+1 finishing about the same time as the Roach speed. He might look out to move and do some aggression. And the creep spread's actually starting to get out there as well. And also, we do now have 2 Banshees moving in to deal with this 3rd hatchery. The Queens actually are not scooting down there very quickly, and this hatch is going to take a ton of damage before the Queens are able to do anything, and it's not going to take a lot to finish this, but at the same time, as those Banshees are forced away, we have the Roaches moving out across the map for Bly, and he will definitely look to do some damage at the 3rd base of TaeJa, And right now, there's not a whole lot there. It's just a couple Hellions, and these two caught on the other side of the rocks. Will get knocked down. The rocks are destroyed, though, allowing a quicker reinforcement path. These SCVs are toast, Maghost. They're going to have to run back immediately, and the command center is forced to lift up. It will not in any danger of dying anytime soon. Roaches obviously can't do anything. Burrowing one Roach on the command center to deny it and force a scan later on. But here do come the Roaches moving in. This bunker is doing a great job. The siege tank doing what it can before it is indeed focused down, but Medivacs and Marines plus these two Banshees should be able to deal with this Roach army, and it will indeed fall. And I'm not really sure how effective this attack was for Bly. And look at his minerals and gas. He is hurting for macro. His macro did slip, and actually TaeJa is down in macro a lot as well, up to 1k minerals when he really shouldn't have that sort of amount. But both players kind of slipping a bit in the midst of this aggression. Let's take a quick look at the workers kill tab. He actually did get 14 workers, SCVs, between his attack with the Lings earlier on and that Roach push. So some good damage actually done. It was a big investment, but I'm not quite sure if it was worth it or not. But certainly not in a terrible position, but he does find himself against a 3-base Terran as a 3-base Zerg, and that is not a good thing, even when your Hive and Spire are on the way. So we'll be looking to do Broodlords quickly after this. But here comes a little move out from TaeJa, small little group of Bio with Medivacs and a couple of Banshees. And there's frankly not a lot at home to defend for Bly. He has 3 Roaches on the map for defense, and that is it. And frankly, this Bio can do anything it wants. Likely to see a scan and some pick off of creep, and there you do have that. And that is a huge advantage for Bly going down the drain, and the Zerglings moving in, doing what they can. And there's a huge number of Queens as well, 5 out here fighting, and they're actually going to do a great job against this attacking force. I didn't really count the Queens in the equation earlier on, but that Zergling reinforcement came at the exact right time, and TaeJa is forced back. But Bly, if he wants a chance really in this game, he's going to need to get more gas income for that Hive tech. I would like to see a 4th hatchery drop sometime soon, and actually here this drone does go, and I will see that 4th base. So, bam, I got that one right. So, I will take that. Bly moving around these Zerglings, trying to be active and do what he can, and Infestor out as well. But TaeJa's once again moving across the map with a significant group of Bio and a couple of tanks. And the tanks do indeed have that siege mode upgrade, so they will be able to do some significant damage, and the Zerglings will not be nearly as effective if the control is right for TaeJa, and he sieges in the correct position. And he will move up onto the creep, but a great Fungal does pin down a bunch of Bio in place, but that Infestor is forced back, and the Banshee's doing work on those Infestors. Does not want to use Fungals on Banshees, wants to use them on that Bio. And we do have a couple of Infestors here, and that Fungals will be very, very key here. And there's just a great Fungal on the Marines, and another couple will do some huge damage, but the Medevac's doing a good job. But a huge couple of Marines do go down. And TaeJa moving in once again, and the Infestor's coming out without not much energy at all. He might look to drop some Infested Terrans, but the tanks are just focus firing those Infestors down. And a scan and a couple more focus fires on these Infestors to do huge damage. But the tanks are now gone. The Bio does move forward, and even with the scan, able to attack those bird Infestors and taking out a bunch of Roaches that came from that 3rd hatchery. And he's going to move down and attack that 3rd base for sure, and it's already weakened. Going for the macro hatch first, and he should be able to get both that and the base if he works in time, but another good Fungal there from Bly. The Infestors kind of holding this back for now, but the Infestors are now gone, and our reinforcements from TaeJa actually might be able to end this game. Look at that supply lead for him, up by 30. There's nothing to stop this Bio right now. Rallied Roaches just rallied to their death, and that he needed those Roaches. He needed every single one to effectively fight off this attack, and with this tank support, this should be it. TaeJa is going to move in here and deny the natural base of AcerBly, and this should be the game. And TaeJa showing why he's just really, really, really good, taking the right time to move out. Basically was able to hold out that initial Ling and Roach aggression effectively, only taking a moderate amount of worker losses, but keeping his 3 bases intact, and with 3 orbitals of Mules on 3-base economy against a pretty much 3-base Zerg. The 4th and 5th base are up now, but they're not mining at all. I mean, just take a look. Nothing here. Nothing here. And TaeJa's in a commanding position here at the bottom of the ramp. Tank's doing huge damage. And with that last group of Roaches falling, I mean, this just had, like... I mean, it just should be talked about... The next game is pretty much going to happen here. There's no way for Bly to really get through here. Even like TaeJa does leave these tanks undefended. Not really the best maneuver, but... Frankly, it doesn't matter at this point. The 3rd base will go down here in a second to this little group of Bio, and with that does go a significant chunk of the economy, as a lot of the drones, I believe, are dead. Actually, well, they're not, actually. I don't know where the drones all are right now, because it's not here at the natural. Oh, they're long-range mining because the natural hatchery is gone. Anyway, 3rd hatchery is now gone as well. Drones getting massacred down here. And we'll just see what Bly wants to do in the next game. He went for some sort of early aggression as opposed to macro and defense, which is the usual thing you want to do, and there's the GG from Bly. So a good game from TaeJa, able to hold off the double aggression, the early little Ling attack. A small investment, but that early on, a bunch of larvae that could have been Zerglings turned into, as I switch to my camera, turned into those larvae. Those larvae could have been drones early on in the game. Those couple of Zerglings that he attacked with, it was kind of worth the attempt, and he may have gotten a couple of SCVs, which would have made it to an extent worth it. But you're also delaying yourself a good bit by going for those attacking units instead of drones. And also the roach attack did good damage, but just not enough. It was not able to take down that third base, and as soon as the roaches were pushed back by the Marines and Banshees, I mean, there was just nothing for Bly to do. Frankly, he kind of hurt himself and put himself on an equal base count with his Terran opponent, TaeJa, and that is just not a good idea, especially if you can't do damage with that big attack. So GG, TaeJa takes a 1-0 series lead, and I will be back with the second game of the series. I do not know the map right now. Actually, this may have been the second game of the series. I actually don't know. It's kind of hard to... I'm not really sure what order these replays are in. But anyway, I'll be back with the second game. So stay tuned.